Owen James's Strictly Business is brought to you by Sagicor, wise financial thinking for life, and Jampro, working for Jamaica, working for you. Jamaica's investment promotions agency, Jampro, means business. Jampro's mission is to promote brand Jamaica, attract and facilitate wealth-creating investments to Jamaica, and secure lucrative markets for quality brand Jamaica products. Jampro, working for Jamaica, working for you.
Promise?
There is a place.
I promise.
Where promises are always kept. At Sagicor,
Pinky promise.
we provide financial security.
I did it.
For you and your loved ones.
Yes!
By maintaining your Sagicor policy, you can keep those promises.
Blessed.
No matter what life throws your way.
We're covered with Sagicor for life.
Are you covered?
Welcome to Strictly Business, a program that goes to the hearts of businesses. Well, today we are taking a non-traditional approach. With me is the Minister of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining, Philip Paulwell. Welcome to Strictly Business, Philip.
Thank you very much, and good to be here.
I'm very glad to have the opportunity to talk about aspects of your super ministry.
It's a very important ministry spanning, as you said, science, technology, very critical areas, and of course energy being probably the most important issue we face today, and then there's mining as well.
Yeah, you're back home, so to speak, eh? So you're on familiar grounds.
Yes, extremely familiar grounds. I was not involved with mining before, but having spent the last 2.5 months understanding the portfolio, I'm liking it already.
Yes, okay. You were nearly laughed out of the room years ago when you spoke about liberalization of the telecom sector. Now we have a truly competitive telecom sector. And now we're looking at energy, which is a bugbear to manufacturers, to the average Jamaican. Every manufacturer tells me that energy, the cost of energy, is the bane of business. What sort of prospects do you see for sustainable reduction in the cost of electricity, for example?
You're absolutely correct. I get it every day, and I see it, and I'm just coming out of being in business myself. The most urgent issue, the most significant and difficult problem we face in the economy now has to do with the high cost of energy, and in particular, electric energy. None of our businesses can expand. Indeed, many are closing, and the new businesses won't come to Jamaica because at 40 cents per kilowatt hour, it is far too expensive. And we therefore have to find ways to deal with that. And I think we have some of the answers. You referred to what happened some years ago with telecommunications. We are precisely at that same point as we were with telecoms, as we are now today with energy. And some of the same arguments about things being natural monopolies and so on are emerging. I do not accept that.
But do we have the economy of scale to have that level of competition in the energy sector?
Can I paint for you a picture? Because again, we had those same arguments when we were projecting that over 10 years we would not have more than about 70,000 subscribers for cell phone. Once you are able to get hope building back in the economy, once people see measures brought into lower cost of electric energy, and once that starts happening, you're going to see an explosion in development in Jamaica. You're going to see more businesses demanding more energy. The market is going to grow. And I believe that Jamaica can sustain more than one provider, distributor of electric energy. We have seen models across the globe. What we want to ensure, one, is that we move to diversify our fuel sources. And the government really ought not to be the main factor in determining that anymore. We do have a project, I'm sure we'll speak about the LNG project, but Had it not been for that, today we will allow all the players who wish to participate in a liberalized sector to use, whether it's gas, whether it's coal, pet coke. In time to come, I fervently believe that nuclear is going to have to be a part of the mix. And of course, the slew of renewable sources that's available and for which we have established certain targets in our policy, but I still believe that those targets are too unambitious. We have wind, Wicton Wind Farm is up and running. We recently launched an expansion of a hydro project. We believe that there has to be a waste to energy component, biomass, biogas, and so on. So we are going to see a diversification of fuel sources, embracing newer technologies within the context of a liberalized regime, where the players are going to be out there working towards achieving lower costs, where fuel costs will not be a direct pass-through to the consumer, but to a cost to the business. We have seen it work. We are quite
and
passionate.
fuel costs will then be a testament of efficiency in the business.
You will not be able to have pass-throughs as you do now. You will have to cost and price your business based on the cost that you incur, not on those that are passed through automatically to consumers. That is when the spirit of competition is going to drive businesses to greater efficiency, better quality service to the consumer, and overall a scenario that will engender hope for Jamaican people. We're not going to see any jobs if we do not have a lower price for energy going forward.
No, you're an attorney, Minister.
Yes.
And so I think you're very competent to answer this question I'm about to ask you.
Yes.
The JPSCO, the majority shareholders, and indeed the minority shareholder, the government, have a license to operate. How can you then, break this? How does the government plan to renege on that license?
Well, let me say that the government of Jamaica subscribes to all the laws that prevail, and we respect rights that are enshrined in contracts and otherwise. We were faced with the same situation in 1999. If we did not affect the situation with cable and wireless, that license would have expired 2038. We are 2012 now, so you see that gap. But what I want to paint for the company, JPSCO, and it is significant that the government has 20% in that, unlike the situation in 1999 with cable and wireless, is a win-win scenario. I believe I can demonstrate to the JPSCO that if we were able to introduce competition, we'll see an expanded market. We would urge them to do certain things to be prepared for competition. There will have to be a process towards that so that we put in the regulatory framework, so they'll have some time to prepare. And there are certain gives and takes in those negotiations that it wouldn't be appropriate for me to get into. But I want to paint for them a picture that will enable them to have a more viable business in Jamaica. As it now stands, people are moving away from the grid.
Yeah.
I have spoken about my own personal experience. Everywhere I turn, people are trying to see how they can lower their costs from 40 cents to 30 cents to 20 cents, and they are going to be doing that. And there will not be a viable business, I believe, if we do not send a very positive and forceful message now to our people.
I spoke with Dan Theok earlier this year. Dan is the Chief Financial Officer at the JPSCO, and one of the things he mentioned, he said if, for example, the LNG project were to come on board, they could sell electricity at about 18 to 20 cents per US cents per kilowatt hour. What is happening with that LNG project? And let me continue the question another way. 2 years ago, Anthony Hilton, I interviewed him, I think, in the 90s about a project that he was espousing, and I was very fascinated by it. And it mentioned getting LNG out of Trinidad. what has happened to a project like that, and why can't we as Caribbean people cooperate? It's happening in cricket.
Yes.
No, I see it with LNG.
Yes. Well, first of all, my view now and the view of the government is that the government really ought not to be so directly involved.
Yes.
The government ought not to be deciding on what fuel source. That really ought to be the remit of the private sector. Once you establish a regulatory regime that is impartial and fair. Having said that, and having been a part of the government in the past and now, we are at a point where there is indeed this LNG project. There has been a steering committee, and I do not believe that it will be wise for us to in any way postpone or to relieve that steering committee of the work, because it is seeking to get gas established in Jamaica at the quickest possible time, which is by the end of 2014, early 2015. And so far, there has been tremendous credibility attached to that process. We hope that by the middle of June, we would have secured, by way of a competitive process, a provider of the infrastructure, which is going to be a floating storage regasification unit, and pipelines to the various off-takers. And also, by that time, the providers of the gas that will come, and these will have to be long-term arrangements. So there is that process that the government is committed to pursuing. But ultimately, we want the private sector to decide on whether it's gas, additional gas, whether it's going to be coal, petcoke, nuclear, and we are going to be summoning now all the energies of our people to get more involved in renewable sources, and we intend to incentivize that later on this year.
Yeah. So you're essentially saying the government is going to put in place the regulatory framework and certain infrastructure, and then the private sector will have an opportunity to go forward and to make a return, a credible return on their investment.
Yes.
Those who want to risk their capital and their entrepreneurism, their entrepreneurial skills. So you're saying it's an opportunity for true entrepreneurs.
It is absolutely so. You get into the business to make money eventually, but you also have to contend with the forces of competition. That is what enables, I think, our system to be efficient and for you to have good quality service to your consumers, who we really want to be once more king and queen of their own energy needs.
Okay, folks, we go for a break right now. You're watching Strictly Business, our program that goes to the hearts of businesses. Now, today we have a rather interesting guest. He is the Minister of Mining, Energy, Technology, and Science, and he tells me the acronym is STEM. Thank you for being with us, Philip Paulwell.
Thank you very much,
have an
too.
awesome ministry. When we come back, we have further discussions. We look at issues such as nuclear energy. Stay with us. When we talk on this program, it's Strictly Business.
Strictly Business is naturally about business. It's about what makes them succeed and indeed what makes them fail. Established businesses as well as startups can learn a lot from this program, where celebrated veterans and younger business executives alike share their business experiences. It's a perfect slot to advertise your business. Call us at 754-6475 to learn about our advertising packages. You may also email us at allmedia6@cwjamaica.com. Don't miss this great opportunity to advertise your business on Owen James's Strictly Business. Call us at 754-6475 to learn about our advertising packages. You may also email us at allmedia6@cwjamaica.com.
Owen James's Strictly Business was brought to you by Sagicor, Wise Financial Thinking for Life, and Jampro, working for Jamaica, working for you.
Welcome back to Strictly Business as we continue to talk with Minister of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining, Philip Paulwell. Now, Minister, the JPSCO has thrown out a challenge. They're effectively saying that any increase in power generation must be tied to the energy mix, specifically LNG. What's your position on that?
Well, having reviewed all the data before me, it is true that perhaps the quickest route towards lower price electricity is by way of this gas project. And that's the reason why we're pursuing it. We are told that within 24 months we can have a viable gas project running, and that we will be able to see benefits flowing. So I accept that. Afterwards, as I mentioned to you, it's going to be all the sources contending, including coal, nuclear, and renewable sources. You sound like a pro-private sector person. You talk about the entrepreneurial spirit and competition in particular. Are your colleagues backing this kind of strong private sector approach? Well, I'm trying to run the ministry as it were a business. So you see that I do take risks as well. But I think we have seen the benefits of competition. I think it is palpable to the country, especially what we're able to achieve with telecommunications. And that has to be the approach taken, that the government has to remove itself from more and more from direct involvement in economic activities, and to be the body that sets the framework and the policies to enable businesses to flourish. And that is the role I see for the ministry, and I think for the entire government. And we intend to pursue that. We intend to maximize the benefits of the free market system by enabling more and more competition.
Minister Paul, are you saying this because you know I'm a pro-business journalist, that my ideology is business?
I'm not saying that because I know that you are. So I believe the country has a wealth of experience in this area. What we're trying to do is to unleash and to provoke a new entrepreneurial spirit in the country. Many of our members of the private sector have become timid for a variety of reasons, but I think this government is showing commitment towards enabling a fiscal environment that is certain, that is stable, that will facilitate growth. And we are, as we speak, moving to ensure that those humbugs in the system are removed, and that people who want to take risks and to invest their money in Jamaica can feel assured that there's a government that supports that.
How does this philosophy fit in with the IMF and or with the approach towards the IMF and or other multilateral partners?
Well, actually, I'm very pleased, having had an exposure recently to the team, that they are more embracing of some of the things that we are speaking about, the pro-growth issues. And I mean, I won't be able to speak a lot more about that, but that is what struck me in my first set of meetings with them, that they accept the government's position that we have to grow ourselves out of our debt, and that a ministry like mine must deal with some of the essential issues that affect growth, energy being the primary one.
Now, your predecessors, the JLP administration, was also high on this energy thing, and they were also high on the LNG and the regasification platform and so on. Is there any sort of continuity in that, and what about the project that they had?
Well, it's precisely that is what we're doing. I should say that an important new element of the regime is this Energy Council, which we are going to be officially launching in another week or so, but Cabinet has now signed off on it. So we're going to have a council that comprises members of the opposition, civil society, other stakeholders, myself chairing, to implement energy policy going forward. But going back to the LNG project,
the private sector will be involved in
of course, significantly, as in fact they will outnumber the politicians on the council. The LNG project is a good example of a government endeavoring to continue good efforts of the past, and that is what we are doing now. The steering committee has had minimal changes. The chairman is still the same person, and the composition is basically the same. We are expecting that their work will bear fruit by the middle of this year.
Now, the JPSCO people have targeted a reduction of 50% in the cost of power in 2 years. Is this realistic from your vantage point?
Yes, but I think...
And what needs to be done to...
Yes. They have indicated up to about 40% reduction in the 3-year period. If that is going to take us still above 20 cents. We have to be looking south of that, below 20 cents, because Trinidad and Tobago, and we grant that they do have energy, they are at 5. We have trading partners that are below 20. Trading
partners who don't have oil.
Who do not have oil. So we therefore cannot relax with a 30 or 40% reduction. We have to be looking down, and that is where I believe competition is going to result in significantly more benefits flowing, lower prices in the long run. We've seen it in telecommunications. There's no reason why it can't happen in electricity.
You're watching Strictly Business, our program that goes to the heart of businesses. Of course, my guest today is the Minister of Mining, Science, Technology and Energy, Philip Paulwell. When we come back, an exciting edition of Feature Story. Stay with us.
Strictly Business is naturally about business. It's about what makes them succeed and indeed what makes them fail. Established businesses as well as startups can learn a lot from this program, where celebrated veterans and younger business executives alike share their business experiences. It's a perfect slot to advertise your business. Call us at 754-6475 to learn about our advertising packages. You may also email us at allmedia6@cwjamaica.com. Don't miss this great opportunity to advertise your business on Owen James's Strictly Business. Call us at 754-6475 to learn about our advertising packages. You may also email us at allmedia6@cwjamaica.com.
Welcome to Feature Story, and of course our guest today is the Minister of Mining, Energy, Science and Technology, Philip Paulwell. And in this segment we are going to be talking about some exciting things, such as even drilling offshore Jamaica. I want to touch on nuclear. I'm just a mere journalist, but when I saw what happened in Japan, it really scared me. And a lot of persons who have written in the newspapers about it. Can we really take on nuclear energy with the safety and environmental issues associated with nuclear power?
Yeah. I believe in time to come we can and we will. The technology that was exposed by the earthquake in Japan is old, antiquated nuclear technology. What we're talking about for a smaller society like Jamaica is a more compact version of emerging technologies for nuclear that would minimize risks associated with exposure to it. In fact, not many Jamaicans know that we have had a nuclear reactor here in Jamaica for many years, and it's been operating quite safely. I think what we need to do is to properly educate our people, and there's sufficient information now that ought to be shared, and we're going to be very proactive. Even before we accept it, we are going to ensure that our people are aware and are in tune with modern technology, and that there is really no issue that will result in any damage to our environment, any mishaps due to earthquake or otherwise, from a safer nuclear system that is being developed as we speak.
Minister, I know we're running out of time, but there's an issue that just occurred to me while you're talking, the diesel we're using. I gather it's way below the standard of that used by most of the other countries. The energy content may be higher, but it's really dirty diesel. And some owners of new vehicles are saying when the lifespan of their engines, for example, is low when they use our diesel. What's being done at Petrojam to improve the quality of the diesel?
Well, I'm sure my friends who are environmentalists will agree with me and laud what we are going to be doing now, because there are two projects. Firstly, the upgrade of the refinery, which has been stalled, will now be put back on fast track. And one of the aims of that upgrade is to lower the sulfur content in diesel to make it far more environmentally friendly. And to meet with the new specs for diesel, we are really operating with antiquated specs.
What specs are you talking about?
Well, where the sulfur content, is much lower, and the efficiency is greater. So that's one thing. In the meanwhile, until we get to that level, I have asked Petrojam to start to see how they can source cleaner diesel to import it as a finished product, because our refinery cannot now manufacture it. And they are moving to incorporate that, and very shortly we are going to be offering in the Jamaica market a cleaner diesel.
What sort of timeline would you attach to that?
No, that one I'm sure will be on stream within a 90-day period, because they have already sourced it.
So within the new financial year?
Within the new 2012-2013 financial year, you're going to get a cleaner diesel. We are still going to have that which is produced by Petrojam, but the consumer will have a choice, as usual.
So the public, members of the public have been talking about the gas prices and so on. I'm sure a lot of it, is driven by international factors in the Middle East and so on. But what can you say to members of the public?
Yes. It is entirely driven now by international factor. We are hoping that the situation between Israel and Iran doesn't escalate, because if it does, trust me, you're going to see even higher prices. Until we are able to get our refinery upgrade project done, which will result in a more efficient refinery in terms of the processing of what we call sour crude, and that will enable us to also benefit from the relationship with Venezuela. So we anticipate cheaper and lower priced products coming out of the refinery. There's not much more we can do but to, again, call our people to that drive towards greater conservation and towards greater efficiency in how we use energy. We have been at fault in that we have not maintained a systematic public education program in this regard. When the prices fall, we tend to slacken off and we forget about the education. I think we have to be relentless now. So even when prices are coming back down, as they will, I believe, we have to ensure that our people are aware that we don't produce yet an ounce of this thing that we use so much of, and that we have to conserve and conserve if we're going to stay alive to experience our own drive towards greater efficiency.
I was saying that would have been my last question, but there are some developments in Guyana. You've been following them, the drilling offshore.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you think that will impact on the region?
Well, we wish them well. And that's all I'll say about Guyana, because we have our own focus. We expect to start our own drilling. Not many people know that we did do some drilling in the 80s. Of the 11 wells that were drilled, 10 of them had shows, meaning that we found oil and gas. But where we drilled, we did not find commercial quantities of these substances. We have updated the science. We are now using better research methods, seismic, and we have done up to 2Ds. We're looking towards 3-dimension seismic now. We believe that there's a huge hydrocarbon system around Jamaica, and we intend to explore for that, and we will be starting the drilling process next year. Wow. So we need to say special prayers and wish the efforts well.
Fascinating.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. That was Minister of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining Philip Paulwell, my guest on a special edition of Strictly Business. Now remember, when we talk on this program, it's Strictly Business. I'm Owen James.
Strictly Business is naturally about business. It's about what makes them succeed and indeed what makes them fail. Established businesses as well as startups can learn a lot from this program, where celebrated veterans and younger business executives alike share their business experiences. It's a perfect slot to advertise your business. Call us at 754-6475 to learn about our advertising packages. You may also email us at allmedia6@cwjamaica.com. Don't miss this great opportunity to advertise your business on Owen James's Strictly Business. Call us at 754-6475 to learn about our advertising packages. You may also email us at allmedia6@cwjamaica.com.
To give feedback on this program, do email us at allmedia6@cwjamaica.com.
Owen James's Strictly Business was brought to you by Sagicor, Wise Financial Thinking for Life, and Jampro, working for Jamaica, working for you. Jamaica's investment promotions agency, Jampro, means business. Jampro's mission is to promote brand Jamaica, attract and facilitate wealth-creating investments to Jamaica, and secure lucrative markets for quality brand Jamaica products. Jampro, working for Jamaica, working for you.
Promise?
There is a place
I promise.
where promises are always kept. At Sagicor,
Pinky promise.
we provide financial security
I did it.
for you and your loved ones.
Yes!
By maintaining your Sagicor policy, you can keep those promises,
Blessed.
no matter what life throws your way.
We're covered with Sagicor for life.
Are you covered?